This is the Murli of the 21st of October 1987, the original date. 21st of October 1987, so quite a while back. The story of Deep Raj. And what does that mean? Deep is the light, the earthenware lamp. And so Raj is king, so Deep is the light. So king of lights. And Deep Rani, that is the queens of light. So today, the master of all the living eternal lamps, the king of lamps, has come to meet his queens of lamps. God is the king of lamps, capital K, king, and we are the small q, queens of lamps, all of us, whether in male bodies or female bodies. God is considered as male, but not necessarily male, but we are all his wives. He is our husband. Because all of you are the queens of the confluence age, the ones who have love for the one king of lamps. The speciality of a lamp is the love of the lamp. In other words, love is the speciality for all of us. We all have love for God. So, all of you elevated souls, the queens of lamps are the ones who have love for the king of lamps and the ones who are true Sitas. You've heard of the story, Ramayana story? No? Maybe you can Google it, and maybe on YouTube you could find some animation video about Ramayana, something that gives you the whole understanding of this big epic, just like Mahabharata. You have heard about Mahabharata? No? No. These are ancient stories, scriptures from the past. Yeah. And all of these are very meaningful stories. So in Ramayana, the way it is shown is Rama is God, but he lives like a normal human being, and he's supposed to then become the king of the land because his father is getting old. But in those days, it's just a story. It never really happened. So in those days, I guess the kings had many wives, and so through one of the wives, there is this Rama who is born, but he's the oldest and also born out of the oldest wife. Therefore, he is supposed to then rule the land. But there is another wife who has a son who is also pretty capable of ruling the land. Now, his mom, so that wife, second younger wife, she becomes jealous and says, I want my son to become the king. And so she manipulates the king and says that Rama should go into exile for 14 years so that my son can rule. But her son didn't want to really rule. Her son really wanted Rama to rule because Rama was the most capable. Anyway, so as he's leaving, his wife also leaves with him. He agrees. He says, all right, dad, if you want me to leave, I have no problem. You can make that other brother, the step brother of mine, he can rule the land and I can go. And so his wife accompanies him, and his wife's name is Sita. And then during exile, then this situation happens where the evil, the devil, the demon, Ravan is similar to Satan in the West. So he comes and he abducts Sita and takes her to a faraway land to marry her. And so then there is this battle between Rama and Ravan, and eventually, mainly it is the fight between good and the evil. And eventually, Rama wins and brings Sita back. So, what is Sita symbolic of? In a way, Sita is all of us, we the souls. And we were captured by Satan, the popular culture of the world. Like, you should do this, You need to have X number of vacations per year. You have to buy X number of cars, X number of houses, X number of this. This is a popular culture. We have all been captured by that. So then God comes and says, no, child, you are no Sita. So we are Sitas, the wives of God. That won't give you happiness. Yeah, what you really need to look for is what we had talked about a few days back, eudaimonia, a true inner happiness, true inner fulfillment. So that's the journey of regaining our original sovereignty, if you will. Or in a way, when we connect to God, or when God comes to rescue us, then what happens is both of them then go back to the kingdom, and then they start ruling the kingdom. So now she becomes a queen again. So you're regaining your sovereignty as soon as you come back to God. So it's the inner sovereignty that sovereignty is symbolic of. But it can also be seen as each one of us is Rama. So each one of us is a king, yeah, symbolically, metaphorically. And Sita is our happiness, or peace that we need to protect. And Ravan, or the worldly matters, can capture or abduct our happiness. And so it is a quest, a fight to regain that happiness. So you see, all of these stories, in a way, they can apply to each one of us. There are times when we are super nice, and then there are times when we ourselves are very manipulative. So there is good in us, there is evil in us. And what these stories teach us is that eventually good wins, good prevails. So, how we can sort of look at all these characters and have the insight that we are not playing the wrong characters, the wrong roles. Rather, if we are, which we do many times, can we bring about that shift and play the right roles? Yeah. So here, so Baba is saying that all of you elevated souls, the queens of lambs, are the ones who have love for the king of lambs, and the ones who are the true Sitas, constantly remaining in the company of one Rama, the Father. So God, Rama, Father, we the Sitas. If we are separated from God, just like Sita was separated from Rama when she was abducted by Ravan, then she was in sorrow. So when we are not with God, then we will be in sorrow. Therefore, together with the master of lambs, the king of lambs, you lambs are also praised in the form of a rosary of lambs, the king of lambs. With one lamp, innumerable lamps begin to glimmer. In olden times, even in our childhood, the way it used to be done was, now everything has become very modernized. So now we have these kind of tiny lights, right? But in those days, we used to have earthenware lamps. And it used to be a process. We had to soak them in water for a couple of days so that they don't absorb the oil that we pour into them. Then we would take them out, dry them for one day. Then we would pour oil into them. Then we would create the wicks. The wicks would be made of cotton. We would make it by hand. And then we would light them. But the way we would always light is that not use one lamp to light the other. We would have a special bigger lamp that we would use to light all of them. So what is that symbolic of? Is that God comes and lights each one of us. You see? So in a way, we can't ignite each other's lights really, or we can't kindle each other's lights. It's only when God comes can he do that for all of us. Yeah. So Baba is saying, with one lamp, innumerable lamps begin to glimmer. So when God arrives, all of us start to glimmer. So the memorial of all of you has been celebrated even until today. So what is the experience in your heart on seeing the rosary of lights? It looks good, right? When we turn this on, right now it's not on. It looks good when you have the rosary of lights like this, yeah, lights everywhere. Is there the happiness? So, Baba, what he's trying to say is don't just look at lights and be happy, but understand what they stand for. So, is there the happiness that this is the memorial of I, the lamp, that I am the light, the lamp? Does that thought come, or are you simply happy on seeing the sparkle? What happens? Are you happy simply on seeing the sparkle, or are you happy seeing it as your memorial? Do you see yourself in that? Do you know that you also are a lamp in the rosary of lamps? Do you have that consciousness? Why is the rosary of lamps shown with lamps? This day is not called the Day of Lamps, but is known as Deepmala, the Rosary of Lamps. You see, one single light will never look as pretty as a string of lights. So what does this mean? That we are all interconnected and together we look more beautiful than individually. But we have a role in that, you see. If even one light bulb in that rosary flickers or is off, yeah, has fused, then the whole rosary looks horrible. So each one has a responsibility to fulfill, that we have to shine brightly, to be constantly be lit, so that through our beauty, the entire rosary starts looking beautiful. So, do you have that consciousness? Why is the rosary of lamps shown with lamps? This day is not called the Day of Lamps, but is known as Deepmala, the Rosary of Lamps. Why is that? This is the memorial of the gathering of you special souls. The rosary is decorated when innumerable lamps come together in the form of a gathering. If just one or two lamps are ignited, it would not be called a rosary. So the rosary of lamps is a memorial of innumerable eternal ignited lamps that we all are. Each one of us is an eternal ignited lamp. And together we are countless, we are innumerable. So you are celebrating your day. On the one hand, you're giving light to the world in the form of living, glimmering lamps. And on the other hand, you're also seeing your memorial. Yes, are we giving light to the world? Are we the reason for people's joy? Yeah. Are we the reason for the smiles on their faces? Yeah. So on one hand, you are giving light to the world in the form of living, glimmering lamps, and on the other hand, you're also seeing your memorial. So you're pleased to see this, are you not? Why have these been shown in the form of lamps? Because you sparkling souls are visible as the lamps of love. This is why the memorial of the divine light of sparkling souls is shown as the physical light of a lamp. This is the memorial of the sparkling souls. On the one hand, it is a memorial of the incorporeal soul, and on the other hand, it is a memorial of your future corporeal form, the deity form of Lakshmi. Now, Lakshmi is a deity who's worshipped in India quite a bit. And Lakshmi is the goddess of wealth, goddess of wealth or of prosperity. So, who is Lakshmi? You see, prosperity, wealth brings happiness, right? So, are we the reason for other people's happiness, like I just mentioned? That that people are able to experience their abundance because of us. That through our lights, which are ignited, and we can guide people into their own prosperity, both in a way. So, very good question. Now, when there is abundance in the soul, it will manifest as external prosperity too. And I'll give you an example. Let's say you are truly grounded, truly connected with yourself, with higher source of energy, God, and with people around you. So let's say you're going to work, and there at work, you are very kind because of this reason, because you have truly understood the meaning of life. You're very kind, very respectful, very loving, very caring. You help everyone out, no matter who or what that person is. Very soon, people will notice that. Very soon, you'll be promoted. When they want to downsize the company, for example, and they're laying off people, you'll be the last person to be laid off. So you see how your inner values then will increase your external value too. People will want you. People will like you. Let's say a long lost uncle suddenly, realizes that I have $10 million and I have no one to give this money to. Now, let's say 4, 5 people come in his mind, and you are one of those people. And you are the one who has always been kind to that person, let's say in the past. Whenever there has been an interaction between you and him or her, yeah, uncle or aunt, then it has been a very kind one from your side. Now, you could probably get that $10 million. So you see, your goodness of heart, your kindness will attract goodness from the universe in the form of actual prosperity. So this is the memorial of the sparkling souls. On the one hand, it is the memorial of the incorporeal soul, and on the other hand, it is a memorial of your future corporeal form, the deity form of Lakshmi. This rosary of lamps claims a deity status. This is why the memorial of both corporeal and incorporeal forms is together. So during Dipavali is the festival. You might have heard of Diwali. So the real name is Dipavali. Diwali is a short version of Dipavali. The same thing. So during that, there'll be lamps that will be lit. But again, now it would be these kind of lights, electric lights. But there is also worship of Lakshmi. So both are our memorial. So as souls, we are ignited lights. That's what we have to be. And we have to shine so brightly that we can guide others towards their destination. But also, in really speaking, this worship of Lakshmi is silly. We are the Lakshmis. You see, so instead of us bowing down to such a figure that has been created arbitrarily out of imagination, we can become the Lakshmis for ourselves and for everyone around us. That's what Baba is saying. So that image of Lakshmi is our memorial. So Deepmala, you see, Deepmala, Diwali is the memorial. No, Diwali, Deepmala. These are interchangeable words for the same festival. So Deepmala is the memorial in a double form. The memorial of Lakshmi is in a double form. On the one hand, it is the goddess of wealth, that is the memorial of the confluence age, the form of the bestower, the one who constantly gives wealth. The image that is shown in the form of the eternal goddess of wealth of the confluence age. There will not be anyone who takes in Satyug. Sometimes we feel, look at the way Baba tells us that right now we are humans, but in the golden age we'll become deities. And the meaning of deity, it makes more sense in Hindi language. Deity in Hindi means devta. So devta means one who gives. And even if you look at the etymology of deity, it means a giver, a bestower. So in golden age, will we be really givers? Because everybody will have abundance there. So who will need anything that you will have to give? So there won't be any need again. You see, understand this, that there won't be anyone who will need anything for you to give. So you really won't be a giver there. You are giver now at the conference age. But are you a giver? Or are you one who demands, one who wants, one who feels that there is scarcity, there's emptiness, or one who feels there's abundance and I can give? So there will not be anyone who takes in Satyug. So who would you give to? Therefore, this is a sign of the elevated activity of the conference age. On the other hand, it is also celebration as the day of the coronation. So the way the story goes is that after Rama slays Ravan, that is Satan, then he brings Sita back and they both go back to the kingdom and then they start ruling again. So that day is the coronation day. So it's the coronation of the soul, that we have to understand who we truly are, that we are kings, the sovereigns of our bodies, of our lives, rather than being subservient to the body and to everything around us. So this shift from subservience to sovereignty. So this festival celebrates that shift. So it's not just Rama going and sitting on the throne and then the crown is placed on him. When we have this shift in our consciousness that we are souls, self-sovereigns, we control our bodies, we control our lives, we control our existence. So that's what Diwali is a memorial of. So on the other hand, it is also celebrated as the day of the coronation. And so the coronation is a sign of the future, and the goddess of wealth is that of the conference age, the sign of the form of the bestower. So they have mixed up the two ages because the conference age is very short age. However, it is just as great as it is small. You have great experiences, carry out a great task, have a great stage, and have great attainment during this short age. So this short age is great age. Yeah, why? Because we have great experiences, we carry out a great task, we have a great stage, and have great attainment. When do we have a great stage all the time? No. But Baba wants us to create that, yeah, on a constant basis. Do we have great experiences all the time? No. But we have to create that. Because you experience many attainments and because Satyug comes very quickly after the conference age, that is golden age is Satyug. Golden age comes very quickly after the conference age. They have mixed up the images and the activities of the golden age with that of the conference age. They have shown the images of the golden age together with the activity of the conference age. In this way, the Deep Mala is the memorial of your double form, a double period. They have also mixed up the different ceremonies of the time of Deep Mala. On the one hand, so now there are multiple things that we do on a regular basis. See, just like any culture, so many things people do, which they just do it because everybody is doing it without understanding the true significance of it. So on the one hand, they finish the old accounts and create a new one. So I don't know, have you ever kept a ledger book or something of your expenses and income? You do? Very good. So back in those days, pretty much all Indians used to do that. So on Diwali, we would sort of close the old ledger books and create a new one, right? And we would actually place it in that place of worship for that night. And next day morning, we would start writing in that. This was the income and this was the expenditure. They gave this much for groceries, this much for milk, this much for that, so on and so forth. So on the one hand, they create the old account, they finish the old account and create a new one. And on the other hand, at the time of Deepmala, they also wear new clothes accurately according to the system. So in many houses, people would buy clothes during Diwali. So to settle old accounts and to begin a new account is the memorial of the conference age. old accounts with ourselves, with others. This happened, that happened. Many times we hold on to those grudges forever. Finish those accounts. You forget everything old and you have new birth, new relationships, and new actions. You transform everything except the new clothes, which is the new body, the sign of Satyug. What happens is people will go through the mad rush of buying new clothes and sometimes new furniture, new appliances, new shoes, and things like that. But what Baba wants is to really create new consciousness for ourselves. And eventually, as we transition from the confluence age into golden age, we'll get a new body. You don't receive a new body at the confluence age, you live in your old costume. And so while we are living in this old costume, old body, we have to change everything. Those people change at the physical level, but we have to change everything at the spiritual level. What Baba is saying, so they have mixed up the system. Golden clothes, that is the Sattva Pradhan body, will be adopted in the future. At the moment, you have a body of patches. It is stitched together. It's not, is it not? Like surgeries or whatever happened to us. What do they do when they perform an operation? They stitch it together, do they not? When they perform major surgery, they remove skin from one part and use it elsewhere on the skin. Yeah, we do the skin transplantation from one place to the other. So that is patching up, is it not? It's not the original skin. The sign of something old is that it is stitched together. What do they say? They say that they have had stitches. So these are patched clothes, whereas those are golden clothes, new clothes. The body that we'll get in the golden age will be a lovely body. You're totally healthy, totally okay. It will not need any surgeries, any operations. So there is a memorial of your adopting new clothes. Today's people cannot become deity souls and wear new clothes. That is, have a new golden body, one of gold. Not really gold, but truly healthy, truly lovely body. This is why they are happy wearing new clothes as a physical memorial. Yeah. They can't have new bodies, new actual clothes. Yeah. So they get these clothes too. So they have mixed it up, have they not? They celebrate happiness for one day or at the most for 3 days. But for how long do you celebrate? You celebrate for eternity. Do you not? You celebrate in such a way that the celebration of the conference age will enable you to celebrate for innumerable births. The constantly glimmering lamps will remain ignited. Previously, people used to ignite lamps according to the accurate method, and the attention was paid so that the lamp remained constantly ignited. It was not extinguished. So it was considered inauspicious to let these lamps get extinguished. So, but you see, what's the point in really spending so much of time, money, and energy on those lights? Of course, they look pretty. But what Baba is trying to say is that we have to make sure that this light always remains lit. The constantly glimmering lamps will remain ignited. Previously, people used to ignite lamps according to the accurate method, and attention was paid so that the lamp remained ignited, it was not extinguished. Because they had to pour oil into it, they would practice the invocation accurately according to the method. So this oil, what is this oil? Baba says this is the oil of knowledge. Knowledge, wisdom, understanding helps the light to be constantly ignited. What do they do nowadays? Now they use electric light bulbs instead of deepaks. Those are the bad lamps. They do not celebrate Deepavali, Deepmala. So now it has become an entertainment, has it not? The method of invocation of spiritual effort has now ended. At least there was some physical effort needed, if not really spiritual effort. We would go around constantly monitoring these lamps. Now it's just one switch, yeah, and they remain on throughout the night. So still, that's not really meaningful. What we have to do is that spiritual effort. The love has finished, and there's only selfishness. They have selfish motive to increase their wealth. Yeah, in those days, we would specially put lamps, those earthenware lamps, in every room. That every room had to also be lighted up. And the lights, these lights we would turn off. So it used to look very pretty. Yeah. And the whole thing was, oh, we have to keep these lights on. Otherwise, Lakshmi will not come to our house, will go to somebody else. So we have to invoke Lakshmi, that is wealth. So it was all selfish. Okay, so they have the selfish motive to increase their wealth. They don't do it with feeling, but with a desire. Previously, there was feeling first, but that feeling has now changed its form into desire. The significance has ended, and just the custom and system remains. This is why the accurate form of Lakshmi, the bestower, does not come to anyone. Yeah, right now, no one is happy because of their wealth. You see, even if there is wealth, now in America, pretty much everybody has reasonable amount of wealth, all of us, compared to the rest of the world. But yet, are we happy with the wealth that we have? Yeah, it's not enough all the time, and truly, it's not enough because on one hand, this money comes in, but on the other hand, so much of it goes out. So there's this feeling of not enough all the time. Yeah, one that is the imaginary feeling of not having enough. On the other hand, the actual thing that is really not enough. Because if you see one time you really get sick, yeah, despite good insurance, it can be a big deal. Can be a big deal. Yeah, a lot of people then have to lose their houses, foreclosures, so many things happen suddenly. If you somebody needs nursing home care, mm, yeah, that's it. Yeah, you see. So 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 people are always scared. And why? Because we are not working on ourselves. We're not checking, is there any selfish ulterior motive happening? You see, the more selfish we are, the more Lakshmi will run away from us. The more selfless we are, the more altruistic we are, the more we'll invoke Lakshmi into our lives. So if wealth comes, it is dirty wealth. It is not divine wealth, it is devilish wealth. But all of you invoke your deity status with an accurate method, and you yourself become a deity. You have come to celebrate Deepmala, have you not? Bombay has been given a chance. Yeah, so the people from Bombay were there. Deepavali is a memorial of the goddess of wealth. What does it mean to celebrate? Will you simply light a candle, cut a cake? Is this what it means to celebrate? Okay, you may even dance and sing. So people would dance, sing. They would go to each other's houses, and just like Christmas here, they would go around buying gifts for each other, and eating and celebrating in many different ways. To constantly dance is the right of Brahmin life. To constantly ignite another light with the light, with your light. However, the celebration of the conference age means to become like Baba. Only then will you be able to come close in the rosary. This is also the ceremonial entertainment of the conference age. The celebration you have is ceremonial entertainment. But true entertainment is what will give us the real joy. That gives temporary joy, the ceremonial entertainment. By all means, celebrate a great deal. However, have ceremonial entertainment whilst celebrating a meeting with Baba. Don't just entertain yourself, but be man manabhav, that is connect to that one God. Man, your mind to God's mind. And then celebrate because you're spiritual, are you not? So with an alokic method, the spiritual entertainment becomes an imperishable entertainment. All of you have adopted the method of the deep mala of the conference age. You have finished the old accounts and have adopted the method for new, that is, spiritual thoughts, actions, and words at every moment. All of you have adopted the method of the deep mala of the conference age. You have finished the old accounts and have adopted the method for new, that is, spiritual thoughts, actions, and words at every moment. Yes, so, are we thinking the same thoughts as we were earlier? Do we speak the same words and do we perform the same actions as we used to in the past? Or has the transformation happened now? Are we thinking different? Are we speaking different? Are we doing differently? So the old account does not remain even slightly, does it? Sometimes you say, when you become weak, what do you say? You don't want it to happen, but it is an old sanskara, that is old nature, old habit, and that gradually it will finish. You say this, do you not? So, where did the old account come from? Have you carefully kept it aside? You haven't tied it in a bundle, have you? If you have tied it in a bundle, you are a thief, Baba said. Have you finished the old account? The old account is Ravan's account, whereas the new account is that of Brahma Baba and the Brahmins. If the old account remains even slightly, then it belongs to Ravan. And so, if something belongs to him, he will surely take it by right. This is why Maya and Ravan, the illusion, the negativity, circle around you. Beautiful, beautiful. If you don't have anything of theirs, Maya and Ravan will not come to you. This is huge. Like I was saying this yesterday too, there's this saying back in India that flies come to where there is dirt. Yeah. So flies also come to food, good food and all, but really to dirt. In India, many times where there would be lack of sanitation, you'll see a lot of flies there. So think of Maya or Ravan as those flies. And if there is negativity within ourselves, this dirt, this impurity, then the flies will come attracted to us. So negativity of the world will be pulled to us if we are holding negativity within ourselves. If we clear it all away, then all the flies will go somewhere else. So this is why Maya and Ravan circle around. And in India, we have seen, and in all these developing countries, when there are flies, flies transmit a lot of infection. So this is why Maya and Ravan circle around. If you don't have anything of theirs, Maya and Ravan will not come to you. What do people do if someone is in debt to them for something taken on loan? They will go around to that one again and again. They'll knock on the door. You owe me this money. Yeah, so they will not let go. So similarly, Ravan is going to keep coming, knocking on our door. No matter how much you try to avoid it, the one who has debt will definitely want it settled. If someone has not finished an old sanskara in the old account, that one is still in debt to Ravan, and this debt is called a sickness. It is said that there is no sickness as a debt. Yeah, nowadays this culture is the debt culture. Yeah, we have houses and cars, and in fact, I was reading about this. But something really alarming is happening in India, that the younger generation now, the Gen Z, they're not taking loans for houses or cars or something meaningful for education. No, what they're taking loans for, to maybe go on a vacation. Yeah. Almost 65% of these personal loans that are being taken by these younger people nowadays is like maybe going to a concert. So what they are saying now is experiences. We don't want material things, we want experiences. So that they are heavily in debt. So it's a mess. It's a total mess. In America, that culture was there all along. I've always seen there. I remember when we were in Mayo Clinic, I used to work in the research lab. There was an American girl, a medical student, who used to work in the lab right across the hallway. And smart, brilliant girl. She had done very well. And so she was always in stress. And So one time I asked what's going on, and she said, I have almost $500,000 of student debt. She was in the last year of medical school at that time. Now, one time Kanishta was on a walk and she didn't live too far from Mayo Clinic. And so I, no, actually, I was there too. Or maybe I wasn't there. Kanishta was there and she saw that she had a house, a reasonable house, this girl, where she had a car, reasonable car, and two big dogs. And one time she said, you know, I'm tired of everything. I'm going on a big vacation to Wyoming for a ski. You have $500,000 loan, $500,000 loan, and now you're going on a vacation. I know that, yeah, if you are going on a vacation, you have to start, but on a regular basis, on a daily basis, you have to take care of them. So the feeding them and then taking them to the vet for vaccinations and what have you. Yeah, they get sick really bad. No, yeah, yeah. And out of your pocket. So what is the point? So in a way, you're shooting yourself in the foot. Live life frugally. Yeah, there was a time when we used to live back. I'm sure the same was for you when you were in Russia, that in the hostel that you used to live, it used to be very meager of a lifestyle, right? Very simple lifestyle. The room would be bare with one table, one chair. Yeah, not nothing fancy. We just sit there, study. Yeah, nothing big, making a phone call home used to be a big deal. So if once in 2 weeks we would call mom, dad, how are you? Is everything all right? Okay, I'm doing well. Oh, so I remember we used to see that on the screen. How much is the cost happening? So I'm sure many of the others can relate to what I'm saying. 5 rupees, 6 rupees, 7 rupees, but definitely not 8 rupees. All right. Huh? Yes, do you relate with what I'm saying right now? Who remembers those STD? And here they have dogs and cats and then vacations after vacations, and with so much of pride they say we went on vacation, we are going on. So this is the debt. Huh? So this is an old debt to Ravan. Old thoughts, sanskaras, nature, old activity. This debt makes the soul weak. Yeah, so debt makes the soul weak actually. And so the weakness becomes a sickness. It becomes an illness. Debt from Ravan, especially. Therefore, finish this debt in a second with a determined thought that this is old, this is foreign. Finish it with a second's determined thought. Burn it. Now, during Diwali, we also burst crackers. We burn fireworks, just like 4th of July or here Christmas. Do they do just 4th of July? Yeah, okay. So what do they burn in that? They also throw bangers in that. So today, with the matchstick of determined thought, light the fireworks of spiritual bangers through which all this finishes. And so they are losing while you are earning an income. You see, they will burst those crackers or burn those fireworks. So in India, we would call them as bursting the crackers. Here they say burning the fireworks, right? So these are very expensive. Yeah, yeah. I don't know. Somebody was selling a few crackers or few fireworks that they brought. They were $200-300 worth. So when you do that, then you're losing. You're burning money exactly. Psh. But here, when we are letting go or burning those old sanskaras, you're actually earning. There's no real loss happening here. There is gaining. And so they are losing while you are earning an income. They lose money when they have fireworks, and you'll be earning through having these inner fireworks. So you know the game of earning, do you not? Do you know the game of the flying stage, or do you know how to light fireworks? Those are fireworks, but you're becoming victorious in the game of the flying stage. Take double benefit, burn it away, and earn by adopting this method. So those fireworks look pretty, right? But you have to spend money to be able to do that. Here, these fireworks also look very pretty, but you have to pay nothing. In fact, you earn. There is success through an accurate method. And so this is one method, and the other is that at the time of Deepmala, they clean every corner. They clean all four corners, not just two or three. They clean all four because cleanliness is greatness. So just before Diwali, about a week or maybe even a month before that, we would all get into that cleaning mode. Just like we have spring cleaning here. So we would, have some servants come over and pay them extra and clean up the house. So clean all four corners, that every nook and corner of the house needed to be cleaned, organized, and so on and so forth. So what should be cleaned in all four corners in order to invoke the deity status? They clean the physical four corners, but what are the four forms of cleanness which you heard the other day? I was trying to search for this, in which Murli Baba has talked about this, the four forms of cleanliness. But in a way, I would say that cleanliness in thoughts, that is mind, cleanliness in speech, words, cleanliness in your actions, but also cleanliness in your relationships with people. Cleanliness means purity. So, cleanliness in all four corners means cleanliness, purity in all four varieties. You claim the deity status through this method. If there isn't cleanliness even in one variety, then you will not claim the elevated deity status. That is, the desire you have of becoming the highest will not be fulfilled. So, the second method is cleanliness in all four varieties. Have you adopted this method? You heard that to celebrate means to become like Baba. This is a very common sentence Baba would say over and over again in many of the Murlis. In Hindi, it makes more sense because the words are rhyming. Celebrate in Hindi is manana. To become in Hindi is banna. So Baba would say manana means banna. That is, to celebrate means to become. Yeah. So what's the point in celebrating? Oh, this nice thing, that nice. Become that. Baba is saying. So you saw Brahma Baba, he settled his old accounts, did you not? You saw purity in all the four forms in his every action, did you not? So Brahma Baba became the proof. This is why he became the number one worthy child and claimed the number one status. You follow the father, do you not? Brahma had decided within a second. A method is adopted at the time of Deepmala to finish the old account. You settled the account at the time of Deepmala, didn't you? You surrendered everything, didn't you? Or no, not yet. Still holding on to a lot of stuff of the past. You sacrificed everything that was old. Therefore, you settled the account. What fireworks did you let off with the matchstick of determined thoughts? Baba would always use this example that in those days, we didn't have very sophisticated ways to burn these fireworks. So there would be a wick, right? And nowadays they have made it very safe. You have a way to light them, especially these big fireworks that you have these special people with all these safety features. But in those days, we just used to use a matchstick and then run. So what is Baba saying? That matchstick is determined thoughts, determination. I have to do it. I will do it. Did you play the game of the flying stage? This is why there is the memorial that has continued on this day. Many times we would also burn the rocket. We would call it as rocket. Have you seen it? There's a small wick and you would place it in a bottle, the narrow mouth, and then it will go straight up and then burst into many different colors. So this is why there is the memorial that has continued to this day. We celebrate Diwali as well, don't you? To adopt these methods means to celebrate Diwali. True Diwali. Yeah. That we have to fly like that rocket. Yeah. Yeah. This is the light that we have to ignite. Correct. And light here, and then use this light to light others as well, ignite their lamps as well. Yes. Correct. Yes. Yeah. So did you celebrate it? And also cleanliness. That's the inner cleanliness that we have to create. not run after external cleanliness. Yes, of course, that is also important, but first it has to start with inner cleanliness. So, did you celebrate it, or were you happy hearing and watching others celebrating it? To celebrate means to become. To celebrate does not mean to listen, it means to become like Brahma Baba. This is what it means to celebrate Deepavali. Look, on the one side, there is burning, the burning of fireworks, and on the other side, there is igniting, the igniting of lamps. On the third side, there is celebrating, eating sweets, wearing new clothes, the celebration of all of this. And on the fourth side, there is cleaning. So, first side is burning, burning of fireworks. The second is igniting of the lamps. The third is celebrating. And the fourth is cleaning. Now, in a way, cleaning comes first. The first thing that we do is cleaning. And then after that, we then ignite the lamps. Then go in the night outside and burst the fireworks. After that, we would go to other people's homes. So we would, yeah, so we would eat sweets and offer sweets to others, wear new clothes, and all that kind of celebration. So you must burn it, have celebrations, and also have cleanliness. So everything is happening. There's also igniting. So all four things. You have to carry out all this. That is, you have to bring it into action. So it is the celebration of Deep Mala in all four varieties. It should not be that you know how to burn, you know how to celebrate, but you don't know how to clean. It should not be like that. Become like Baba in all four aspects. So do you understand the meaning of Deepavali? This is the story of the queens of lamps and and what? And whom? Yes, and the king of lamps, Baba. So you have to, yeah, of lamps, Baba. So you have to become the eternal queens of the confidence age. You're the queens of the unlimited king, Shiv Baba. In Satyug, there will be the deity queens. In the Satyug, there'll be deity queens, but you're now godly queens. This is why they have shown queens. How many queens have they shown? They have just shown a young child, Krishna. So Krishna is shown in the form of a child, yet he's shown with queens. So they have mixed it up, have they not? So all of you are Sitas as well as queens, are you not? Or are you Rama? What are you? This is the magic. 1 minute you say that you are brothers. So when you become brothers, you cannot call yourself a sister. Yet the next moment you say that all of you are Sitas, that no one is Rama. So this is the magic, is it not? In other words, each character has different meanings that you can take out of that. So on one hand, we are all souls, so there is no gender. So we are all brothers, really, in a way. Neither brother nor sister. On the other hand, we are queens, so that means we are females. Yeah. So yeah, the joy of all of these different aspects brought together. So this is magic, is it not? This brings great pleasure. Become brothers and sisters 1 minute, the next brothers, and the next moment become Sitas. Become souls 1 minute, and the next moment become angels. This spiritual magic is very entertaining. You enjoy this magic, don't you? You're not afraid of magic, are you? You yourselves have become magicians. Acha, eternal congratulations for Deepmala and Deepavali. If you constantly keep dancing, if you constantly keep singing, these congratulations are eternal. They say Happy Diwali, just like Happy Christmas, Merry Christmas, for 1 day. They don't say Deepavali, they say Happy Deepavali. And Babdada says eternal, holy, happy, healthy Diwali. You want everything, do you not? You don't just want to be happy, you want wealth as well, right? You want health as well. So eternal, holy, happy, healthy Diwali. You want everything. So congratulations for a happy, healthy, wealthy, and holy Deepavali. You are the lamps that are constantly ignited. Do you understand? Your mouth remains constantly sweetened, does it not? What is the best sweet of all with which your mouth constantly remains sweet? Just Baba. This is a sweet that brings happiness to the heart. You ate this sweet and became sweet. Those who constantly eat this sweet remain sweet constantly. Yeah, so we have to eat this sweet. What sweet Baba is talking about? Eat Baba. Not eat. Yeah, well, not eat. You understand? Just feel Baba. We connect and feel Baba. So you ate the sweet and became sweet. Those who constantly eat the sweet remain sweet constantly. It is an easy sweet, is it not? It is not difficult to make it. Everyone can make an item that is easy. Everyone can do it. So this is an easy sweet. You ate the sweet, you celebrated the meeting. Now what is left? The children from this land and abroad have reached Madhuban today in the subtle form of angels. The mind of everyone is here, but the body is on service. So Babdada is not just seeing this gathering, but Baba is celebrating the meeting with the children from all four directions, the children with the form of an angel. Everyone is celebrating the meeting with a great deal of zeal and enthusiasm. There's only one remembrance merged in the hearts of everyone. The sweet is in everyone's mouth. It is an imperishable sweet. How big is the rosary of all the children? How large is the rosary of lambs? If a rosary of this gathering was created, it would be a very small one, but the glimmering lamps of all four directions are in front of Baba in the form of a rosary. So when this kind of meeting would happen, especially in the 1980s, it was a small crowd, small group. The hall wasn't too big. So very few souls would be sitting in front there. But now if you look at it, there are more than a million students across the planet. Yeah. So Babdada is smiling on seeing each lamp and is giving congratulations. Do you understand? And then the salutations to the queens of lamps from all four directions, to the special glimmering souls of all directions who give imperishable light to the world, to the great souls of all four directions, those who are to become like Baba, that is, those who celebrate true Diwali, Babdada's love and remembrances, and many, many congratulations. So at the time of leaving, Baba was lighting the candles with the senior brothers and sisters. Again, he said, eat, drink, and experience pleasure. Now, this is deep. Eat, drink, and experience pleasure. You have come to experience pleasure. But again, it's not the pleasure, the external pleasure. So, food at that time was very simple. You see, there was hardly any money in the organization. Now, everything has exploded so beautifully that every center has enough. There's contribution coming to the centers from everywhere, everyone. But in those days, there was very little. And so, even with that very little, you can truly experience joy. So, here, what Baba is talking about is that inner joy. Eat, drink, and experience joy. You have come to experience pleasure, but really that inner joy. You have been born to experience pleasure. You were born with pleasure. Was there any difficulty? You heard knowledge and took birth. So you were born with pleasure. See, those children, when they are born, they have to be squeezed out of the birth canal. It's so painful. Or the tummy has to be cut and it has, the baby has to come out. Here it is so easy. We just got the knowledge and birth. Yeah. So you were born with pleasure and you were born for pleasure and you'll also go with pleasure. You understand this word pleasure, don't get hung up on that. With joy. No matter what. Even if there is the very simple food, just bread. That's okay. There's joy in that. So you will return with Baba. This is why Baba is happy with children having celebrations. Because Bapdada celebrates pleasure in the children's pleasure, therefore light candles and cut a cake, do whatever you want. Cut even 1,000 cakes. So cut even 1,000 cakes, nothing is wrong in that. Baba is saying, therefore light candles and cut a cake, do whatever you want. Cut even 1,000 cakes, nothing is wrong in that. Baba is not alone, the children are also with Baba. Everyone will each cut one. Even the deities will not celebrate festivals as the Brahmins do, because you celebrate with Baba, whereas there, souls celebrate with souls. So here, even with the simplest cake that there's joy. So why not celebrate with pleasure? Don't celebrate in pleasure with confusion. Celebrate without confusion. The whole of this creation is for pleasure, but human beings have created confusion within the creation of pleasure. These elements are in order to experience pleasure, but the vibrations of human beings spoil the atmosphere, and there is an influence of the atmosphere on the elements. And then the elements also do the task of creating confusion. So we are the ones who are destroying the planet really through our vibrations. One is through our physical assault of the five elements. And I gave this example the other day that if you go, let's say you go into the wilderness to hike, and the weather would be lovely, the air would be very fresh, but then somebody will walk by with a cigarette in his hand, yeah, or with a beer bottle which he will throw away later on. So all that pollutes the air, pollutes the atmosphere. But this is what's happening today because of our negativity. We are destroying the planet, destroying the elements of nature. So Baba is saying these elements are in order to experience pleasure, but the vibrations of human beings spoil the atmosphere. And then there is an influence of the atmosphere on the elements, and then the elements also do the task of creating confusion. The rain confused the program, did it not? So there was supposed to be a big program, but there was a big rain. But you didn't get confused. You stayed in pleasure. You celebrated the pleasure of meeting Baba, didn't you? The elements are being stubborn, and you are stubborn in celebrating a meeting. I'm not sure exactly what happened. Maybe there was a big drought or a big flood or something happened at that time. You're celebrating and the elements are creating confusion. Let them create confusion, but are you going to be shaken? No, you are unshakable. You didn't stop the season under any circumstances, did you? You are celebrating the season. There is no water. Maybe there was big drought, but there is love. There is the water of love. This is why the elements are seeing that these children of God are no less. Acha, what needs to be done now? Sing, dance, do whatever you want. Yes. So be merry and then just live your life to your fullest potential. Yes. Oh, shut.